I thought we were having a great date. All of a sudden you're gone and I don't ever hear from you again. This is why I'm never going to be in love. People just don't stay. More than likely, there were signs that you missed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love Chat with the Love Twins. My name is Gladys Diaz, and I am so happy and excited to be here with you today, sharing another relevant topic about how do you create a great relationship with a high quality man without having to deal with any of the suffering, drama, or pain that perhaps you've been experiencing up until now. Today's topic is one that unfortunately we do hear about from several women, which is that whole phenomenon called ghosting, right? And so it is, I smile, but it's not fun. And it doesn't feel great when you're having a conversation with someone that maybe you feel is going well, or there's some back and forth dynamic, and all of a sudden there is absolutely no communication. Unfortunately, ghosting is something that many women experience, and it can feel personal. Why it can feel personal is like, what happened? Like, we were just talking, it looked like we were communicating back and forth. And sometimes the ghosting can happen like really quickly as soon as you start engaging. When it seems to be a little bit more shocking, unexpected, is when the conversation has been going for a little while. And I'm not just talking about like several interactions within the day. Sometimes this happens after a date, and now you've met, and now what the heck happened? Or sometimes it's that I was literally talking to someone today that there's been no communication since Saturday, and she's like, she was already feeling like this probably wasn't a match. He probably picked up on it too, but it still feels a little unsettling because it can feel like it's incomplete. It can also feel rude, right? Like the person's being rude and dismissive. And so when you're making the interpretations that it has something to do with you, then you're taking it personally. And then there can be some, wondering, right? You look at your phone, like, is there going to be, is this thing working right? Is it, and you're scrolling and you're over analyzing what you said, what he said, what was the last thing that was said. Or if you did meet in person, or you had a video chat or a conversation, like, what was it that we said at the end? I thought he said he was going to call me. I thought he said he had a great time. It can feel, right, like maybe either you did something wrong or that you're taking it personally. So if that's something, right, if you can resonate with that, then go ahead and put yes in the chat, just so that I know that, yeah, like you fall into one of those camps, that either you're confused or you kind of feel a little bit like, what the heck, who do you think you are, right? You might take it a little personally, or that it just leaves you like wondering, was it something I said? Was it something that I did? Did I not pick up? I thought we were having a great date. Was I off? Or the conversation seemed to be going well, right? So I see lots of yeses here, but it's very understandable that you would feel that way. Okay. So part of it is because if you have some subconscious fears around abandonment, let me just back up just a second. The first thing is to remember, especially if this is happening pretty early on, is this is a stranger. So at this point, you haven't invested a lot of time, energy, and attention. And while you might still have some of the questions like, did I say something? Did I do something? Did I miss something? You want to keep things in in context. You don't know this person, probably didn't invest a lot of time, energy, and attention into this if it happened relatively soon. So it's going to be important to have the skills, which we teach, and obviously we do a lot of this work, for separating what happened from whatever you're making it mean about yourself. That's important for this situation and any situation in life that triggers you, that triggers those feelings of abandonment, of confusion, of immediately wondering, was this something I said or did? Okay. Now, if you've been spending a long time, let's say it's been, and it doesn't have to be an extremely long time, it could be a week where you've been talking back and forth, and or it happened after a phone call, after a video call, and even after a date, then there's been a little bit more time invested. There's been a little bit more energy invested. And so it might sting a little more. right? And the heightened level of like confusion, and perhaps if you do have fears, beliefs, some unhealed wounds around being abandoned. And being abandoned doesn't only have to mean that somebody left you, right? Many times with the women that we work, there's either a parent, both parents, many times the father that left because of divorce, because of a breakup, and they lost that connection with their father. And so there's a feeling when a man leaves, particularly, that this person is leaving me. But if you are not in a relationship, meaning it has not been, you haven't taken enough time to get to know this person, it didn't go from talking, maybe texting, to talking, to dating, to a relationship, it's not that it's not going to sting, right? But it wasn't a deep level of emotional investment and time spent with this person, like real time spent with this person. And so if you spend more time with the person, the sting may be a little deeper. But if you've got these emotional, unhealed emotional wounds, it's going to sting either way. And more than likely, you're going to go back to a decision that you made when you were very, very young, where you decided, if I had just blank, he would have stayed. Meaning you're a parent, guardian. It could even be she would have stayed, your mother. So there are decisions that we made very, very young that get activated. That's why we say triggered, right? But it's not you that's getting triggered. It's the memory that's getting triggered. It's a decision that you made about yourself that's probably been playing out over and over in your life. And that's what's getting activated when somebody is not there for you, when somebody just completely disappears. So if you're understanding, like if you're seeing this connection, then go ahead and put a C for connection. Like you can see like there's a connection between the emotion, the thoughts and the emotions that get activated when somebody appears to leave, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're abandoning you, but that's how it feels. That's the experience that it feels. So you can go ahead and put a C in the chat to let me know that, yeah, I can see that connection. The reason I want you to see this is that many times there's something that's happening, and sometimes it's ghosting, and sometimes it's even if the person doesn't ghost, but they reschedule a date, for example, or even a phone call, it's still going to activate that feeling of abandonment because it's there, it's unhealed, it's unaddressed, right? And so it's going to creep up even when the action doesn't match the reaction, right? The other person's action doesn't match the reaction. So I wanted to start there, and you see lots and lots and lots of C's, because when you have a fear of being abandoned, anything that somebody else does, it doesn't have to be the full-on ghosting, it doesn't have to be that they break up with you and you never hear from them again. Just the very fear that that could happen because of something that the person says or does, that is what activates the full-on feeling of abandonment. Okay, so today we're talking about it in the context of ghosting, but it could be anything. It could be a person showing up late, and in the let's say they showed up late to a date, or they called you later than they said. In that window, you're already going there, right? You're already going there, like, here it is again. This is why I'm never going to be in love. People just don't stay, right? We just had a 3-day event this past weekend, and we were talking about that, how some people's biggest fear is that even if I find a great guy, you don't even have to find him. I attract a great guy, but I know that's the language that most women use. That I find a great guy. What if he leaves me? That's just a reflection of the fears that are there. When it comes to ghosting, right? And somebody put in the chat, I saw, I was living with the person. When somebody completely and totally leaves, after you have had a real investment of time, there's an actual relationship. Now, I don't have that person's story of how long they actually took to get to know the person, how well they knew them before they got into a relationship. She said she was living with him. I don't know the backstory. But what I do know is that many times there's usually a buildup of something that's happening, or when it happens completely out of the blue, when you do the work, right? Because when you have guidance, when you've got somebody helping you through the steps to really bring beyond understanding an actual breakthrough, so this never ever happens again, then There obviously, we were living together and all of a sudden you're gone and I don't ever hear from you again. More than likely there were signs that you missed. That, do not make yourself wrong. Do not, I am not saying this is your fault. I'm just saying more often than not, there were things that either got fast forwarded through, ignored, like potential red flags, or the the tendency maybe that person had to drop projects, never finish things, start things and never finish them, not talk, they completely stop talking to people in their family. And not, I'm not just talking about one or two people, I'm talking about that is the pattern. A lot of times we think it's going to be different with me and then it's not. So why are you drawn to that person? Again, it could go back to that unhealed wound of abandonment, and now subconsciously I'm attracting someone who's likely to leave so that this time I can prove that they won't. So you see how it's about a lot more than ghosting. And that's what Michelle, the work that Michelle and I do is not like the little surfacey stuff, like put this on your profile and you won't attract the ghoster. Obviously, we're telling you, we also teach what to put in your profile, but there are deeper things that are causing and creating the patterns that you're experiencing that are breaking your heart. And if you don't get to the root of what it is, then it keeps showing up, even if you keep getting a better version of the thing you don't want to see anymore. Our work is so you obliterate it, it never again shows up in your life. So the first thing is that there are those fears that could be having you even be attracted to that person, have that person be attracted to you, and then it's playing out over and over again. And so there's also another thing is, consider that if you have these beliefs and these unhealed wounds, there's even an energy that could actually be creating self-sabotaging incidents that will be pushing the person away, repelling the person, and then they leave, but it still feels like they ghosted you if they didn't have the conversation with you, simply tell you, look, I don't think this is working, right? Ghosting usually shows up as there's complete and total lack of communication. Like you just don't, there's no conversation around it. There's no, let's try to work this out. It's just they're gone and then you don't hear from them. And that's what triggers all of those feelings of abandonment, whatever fears you have, that you can't trust people, that'll get activated, right? So it could be that there's an energy that, again, subconsciously is having you sabotage relationships where the person is being pushed away. But more often than not is that you're attracted to people who are going to have this. I know you don't want it. Your brain is fighting me right now. I can feel it. I can feel your brain fighting me right now. But there's a subconscious attraction to someone who may possibly, especially, I'm talking about if this is a pattern that keeps showing up, that's not reliable, that's likely to leave. And then that fear, that doubt, that limiting belief gets reaffirmed as you see. I knew that was almost like your brain goes, you see, aha, I was right. That it was just a matter of time, whether it was 2 weeks or 2 years, right? So how do you create the shift? Now, you can never ever create a shift in another person. You can always create a shift in yourself that inspires a change in another person. But for us to sit here and talk about people who ghost and what to do about them, that you don't even want these people coming into your hemisphere. So I don't even want to give them that airtime. That makes sense? I don't want to give them that airtime, because for me to sit here and say, yes, are there people who have a fear of commitment? 100% absolutely. Are there some men who the moment things start to maybe move into a more serious level, that scares them and they're out of here? Yes. And we could talk about that for 2 hours. The thing is, why is that person being attracted to you and you're being attracted to them? That's where you've got power. That's where you got the power. That's where the juiciness lies. Because if you can change whatever energy, if you can heal the wounds that are over here so that this never shows up again, you don't even have to worry about understanding it, right? Because it's not relevant to you. You are no longer available for this. So for those of you who are new and you're no longer available for this, you're newer to to our community and you've never had the opportunity to have a love breakthrough session, that's what I was talking about earlier, where if you want to have a conversation with someone that's obviously more intimate, where you don't have to share the intricacies of what's been happening, and you also have somebody's undivided attention who is committed to helping you break, not just identify, not just have an aha awareness about why ghosting is showing up, but to help you go to the roots of what's having that person be attracted to you and you attracted to them, then you want to go ahead and schedule a love breakthrough session. Because on the love breakthrough session, you're going to see like, oh my gosh, it's been here all along and how did I not see it? What is happening to have this show up in your life? Here's the thing. You are a woman worthy of someone's adoration, commitment, honesty, dedication. Like, you are worthy of that. So if anything less than that is showing up in your life, don't you want to like extract it, like get rid of it, take it out so that you don't ever have to experience that again? That's what we want for you. You got to want it more, but we want that for you. So go ahead and click on the link that's there in the chat. And it is for people who have never had a love breakthrough session. This is an absolutely free gift. It is an hour. What the coach is going to do is ask you some questions to, first of all, see like what's the pattern that you've been seeing. What is it that you ultimately want? Obviously, nobody wants to be ghosted. Nobody wants to have their heart broken. You don't want to attract cheaters and unavailable men and scammers. You don't want any of that. Right? So today we're talking specifically about ghosting, but if there's other patterns that you're like, today's the last day, I'm no longer available for this, then you want to go ahead and click on that link and you're going to schedule the call. She's going to ask you questions. You're going to be doing more talking than she is. And in the process of asking those questions, she's going to identify what are the love barriers, right? The blocks, the sabotaging behaviors that are having this show up in your life. And here are 1, 2, 3 steps that you can start taking right now. So the first step I'm giving you here today is to see in my history, in my background, if this has happened more than 2 or 3 times to me, let me think. When was the first time that I ever had before dating, before any of that I had the experience of being abandoned? Look, like I said, for some people, it's a parent left, or a caretaker, a guardian left, and maybe they left for 100 reasons. Like, my father died when I was 3, and I made up the story that the people that I love leave me or die, right? Because I didn't understand at 3 o'clock that when he went to be with God and the angels, how my mom explained it to me, he did not have a choice in that. Well, at 3 years old, I was like, why the heck did he leave? And who the heck is God and the angels? And why wasn't I worth him staying? Made that up at 3 and lived it out till 33. Right? In different ways, shapes, and forms. But for other people, it could be that you had a friend and the friend stopped talking to you. Maybe it was a friend that was really close to you. Maybe you have a family member and they just stopped interacting with you, wanting to be with you. Those things are the events, let's call it the origin event, that plants the seed of that belief, and then that belief keeps taking root. And it's why trying to figure it out on your own it's virtually impossible to get to the root, because your brain wants to protect you from seeing what's there. But you're safe with us. Your heart's safe with us. Your mind's safe with us. And more than anything, you get to freaking break through this once and for all and never experience it again. Here's the next step. So I said the first step is to be aware of it. The second step is to look at, okay, when this happens, if this happens in the past, right? Because we're breaking that. You're scheduling your love breakthrough session and you're not dealing with this anymore. But when this happens, what are some of the very first thoughts that I have that get activated? Because you've got to pay attention to your thoughts, because I want you to think of it like, I don't have enough fingers. So let's say that these are dominoes, right? Dominoes are usually standing straight, right? So when the first thing happens, the person goes to you, that triggers a thought like, oh, did I say or do something wrong? Then that triggers a thought like, what's wrong with me that this keeps happening to me? Then that triggers a thought like, you see, this is why I'm not up for dating. Like, I'm putting my dating on pause again. And then there's like more fingers than I have, the series of thoughts that boom, 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 boom. And that's what starts to get you into an anxious state for some people, depressed state for others, disappointed and like what's the word, apathetic state for others. And so we want to catch this at the point of thought, because the thoughts are what activates the emotions, and then the emotions are what activate the behavior. I stop dating. I shut down again. I have a belief about men that they're all blank. Fill in the blank. I believe that I'm not ever going to find the love that I want. I feel like this is a waste of my time. Well, yeah, it's a waste of your time if you keep attracting the wrong kind of man. But what about if you do the work to start attracting the right kind of man, and that other kind of man doesn't even get that airtime or airspace, right? Pretty powerful, right? To know that you have that level of power to break through that. So when you start to break through, you start to build that inner trust, that inner security. You start to feel so confident, but not like in an arrogant way. Like truly you feel confident in your ability to see when somebody is worthy of your time, energy, and attention. I would love to hear, what are you hearing for yourself? And remember that, I'm just going to say this, like I said, we're not giving the airtime, but you're not the only one. I'm not the only one, right? You're not the only one with fears, limiting beliefs, and patterns. So that other person, it may literally have nothing to do with you and have to do with their own fears, their own insecurities. But if you can block and stop the energy, like whatever is magnetizing that and drawing that kind of man to you and having you draw to them, it's just like we just like cut the cord. That's it. You never have to deal with this again. A lot of people will say, well, they were just like, they were just not mature enough, or they were just not ready, or they were just not anything. But I really want you to get that what Michelle and I want for you more than anything else is that you don't ever have to deal with that kind of person again, because they're just not, it just, the whatever magnetism that was, it's like, it's just not there anymore. You're not drawn to them. You're not interested in trying to fix or heal or, improve somebody else, because you've done so much of your own work. Like, I just not available. I love the term, I'm simply not available for that anymore. I'm just not available for it. Right. So I hear the thought that it will never change no matter how much inner work I do. So Gabriel, that's what you're hearing for yourself, that you have that thought that it's not going to ever change. What is it that you feel? You can share as much as you feel comfortable. I mean, this is a very loving community. You can share as much as you feel comfortable with. What is it that you feel is unfixable? No matter how much work I do. See, a lot of people think that inner work is about fixing something that's broken. No. When my car goes to the mechanic, I'm fixing something that's broken. When I do inner work, I am removing whatever's causing the problem. I am removing whatever is not aligned with my vision, with my values, with my dreams. But that's not about fixing me. That's simply about figuring out what's not working so I can get the results that I want. If I can figure out what's not working and replace it with what does, suffering gone. Suffering is gone. Right? If I can figure out, it's just like if you have, I use this analogy a lot because I think it's the best one that I can think of. When I think of a better one, I'll use a different one, right? But if I go to a restaurant and I eat something, and the next day, or 2 hours later, my throat is swollen, my lips are swollen, I'm having trouble breathing, I've got hives all over me, the very first question I want to know is, what did I eat? Because you know what? I don't want to eat that again. So it's not about fixing something that's broken. It's about taking out whatever is causing the pattern and replacing it with something that does. For example, if I'm lactose intolerant, then I can have something else that will give me calcium. I will replace milk with that. If I can't have gluten, doesn't mean I can't ever have a cracker. There's gluten-free crackers. So I'm going to remove gluten from my diet and replace it with something that I can have that doesn't create a reaction. You get that? Okay, so you're attracting the wrong man for so long. just no actual proof that there's different out there. Yeah, there's no proof that there's different out there because it's what you've been attracting. I promise you, the minute you start attracting a different quality man, a high quality man, you're going to be like, they are out there, and they're out there in like large numbers. The only reason I know that is because our clients are meeting them. Just found out one of our clients is in a brand new relationship. Just last week, I found that out. We've had 2 weddings in the month of June alone. We had another one in April. We've got 2 more coming up, one in November. I can't remember when the other one is. Like, there are great men, I promise you. And these women are not better than you. They literally said the same thing. I attract only men who are here for a little while, or they don't want to commit, or they're confused and they don't know, and they're just getting back on their feet, or whatever the case may be. And now they're with a man who loves, adores them, wants to be with them. If they had the ability to move the earth and the moon and the sky for them, they would. And if they deserve it and they can have it, so can you. And I'm not saying that to make you feel better. I, unlike you, have zero doubt that that's true. 100% certain that every woman can have a beautiful, loving relationship with a man who knows how to love her, who is a match for her vision for what she wants to experience in a relationship and her values. There's zero doubt in my mind that I just haven't met the person yet for which that's not true. So some other thoughts that I see here: if ghosted, try not to take, no, don't try not to take it personally. Don't take it personally. And if you transform, it will not happen in the future. If you transform whatever's been drawing that kind of person to you and having you be drawn to them, if you can transform that, replace it with what actually works, it's just I'm trying to think of something that I've never had an encounter with a lion chasing me, and I just don't want that. I'm not available for that. I'm not going to go to this. I will not be the girl you see in a safari. I won't. I've never had an encounter with an anaconda, and I never plan to. People who allow boas to, no, that's not me. I'm not available for it. That's what I mean. Okay. Some wounds are still not healed. Yes. And that could be what's drawing the person to you. You need to identify the pattern to be able to block the energy and stop the pattern. Yeah. And if you see the pattern, but you're not sure what's at the root of it, work with somebody. It may not be us, but work with somebody to have not just the breakthrough, to have the breakthrough and then replace it with what does. So if you've never had that kind of conversation with someone on our team, go ahead and click on that love breakthrough session. We don't always have slots available for that. So now that we do, like, avail yourself of it, like, give yourself that gift. And if something inside of you is going, I don't know if I should, that's probably a worthiness conversation that's attracting a man who's not worthy of your time, energy, and attention. Okay. And Laura, that's great that you're doing your work on your own. Here's what I tell people all the time. There are 3 paths. You can choose to do nothing, and that's going to give you one part. Well, actually, it's not going to give you any results. You're going to keep getting the same thing. You can take the longer road, which is doing the work on your own, and possibly see blind spots. It's not personal to Laura or to me or to you. Blind spots cannot be seen on your own. So yes, there's work that you can do on your own, and you can absolutely create some improvements and some new results. But to do the complete work, it's looking at what are the blind spots. What is it that I can't see? What is it that I don't know that I don't know? That's where, usually that's where you just accelerate the results. So there's doing nothing, there's a long path, and then there's a shortcut. The shortcut is to work with somebody who already has the answers, who's already can help you to see it like this, do the work, get to the root, replace it, and you're on the other side of it. And now you're dating really great men, having a completely different experience. We were talking this weekend at the 3-day event. Women were sharing how they were on the same platform that they were before and attracting a completely different kind of man. How does that happen? I'm talking about clients who came to give testimonials, including Michelle, my sister and business partner. She did not change platforms. She stayed on the same dating site and started attracting a completely different kind of man. How does that happen? Well, when you get to the root, just like a weed, you rip it out, you replace it with what works. All of a sudden, you've taken a lot of the hard work out of it because you're doing the heart work, which is the process that we teach you. Okay. I'm not available for good, Marilyn. She's like, that's going to be my line from now on. All right. Good for you being coachable, open, and willing to have somebody support you. Look, we're not talking about supporting you like you're dependent on us. It's like, if I want to make $1 million, I wanted to talk to somebody who's making 10. I don't want my cousin who's filing bankruptcy giving me financial advice. And I don't want to go by what I'm doing, because if I want to make $10 million, I want, if I'm, well, I've already made $1 million. So if I want to make 10 million, I want to talk to somebody who's making 20, right? If right now I have a health mentor, right? Because I wanted to lose weight, trying to do it on my own. And I did a lot of things and I would get results. I would gain it back. Now I'm working with somebody, right? I even started a side hustle around it because I'm so inspired by the fact that I haven't gained any of the weight in a year. That's never happened to me before. Right? I keep losing, I'm not gaining. That's never happened to me before because somebody showed me the way. Somebody who did it. I was watching her. And I saw that she didn't gain it back in a year. So I hired her. And she actually had more weight to lose than me. And she lost it and kept it off. I'm like, I got to figure that out. Not because anything's broken with me, not because I'm not capable enough. I am not available for struggle. I'm just not available for hard and struggle or drama. I'm just not, right? So I talked to her, signed up, and now I was like, hey, how can I help people do this? And she's like, here you go. And I've been doing that. Right now I get extra income. I got something I wasn't even bargaining for. You're going to get love and life beyond your wildest dreams, something beyond what you want right now, what you feel is possible, that's going to be available to you. Awesome, Kim. Happy for you, sweetheart. I'm so not available. I can say no, thanks, and walk away. And here's the thing. When you break through, you don't even have to walk away because they are not here, because you are not available for it. It stops showing up in your life. I want you all to just, I'm going to wrap up right now, to just connect with that for a moment. It stops showing up. You don't have to walk away from it. You don't have to say no thank you to it. It stops showing up in your life because you are not available for it. Your time, your energy, and attention is being taken up by the kind of experience, relationships, dating interactions that you want. So you don't have to deal at all. But should it happen to try to walk up, not available. So I am very, very, very grateful that we had this conversation. Remember, it's not personal, and the work to break through it is, right? If I want to transform my life, if I don't want this to be showing up in my life anymore, I get to figure out, just like if I have an allergic reaction, what did I eat so I don't ever eat that again, right? That's what we're talking about. And then you never have to worry about ghosting or any of the pain that's associated with it, because who you're attracting into your life is a man who's clear, who knows what he wants. And if he feels that it's not a fit, is going to have the courtesy of a conversation with you and not ghost you. Okay? So here's to creating a life that's unrecognizable. Here's to being the kind of woman who only attracts the love, the happiness, the joy, the peace, the partnership that you are worthy and deserving of. And until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Bye for now.